Louisiana versus all y'all. Jarrett Roser here with standout Bossier guard Tahj Roots, a senior on that Bearkats squad that just won a state championship in the Division II non-select bracket. A team that went on a heck of a run late in the season and beat some other fantastic teams from around the state. Tahj, what's it take to go win that state championship? Y'all, as I mentioned, played there. There's, I think, some often underrated basketball in the state of Louisiana. A lot of fantastic teams, and y'all had what it took to be the one left standing in y'all's division at the end of it. What are you going to remember about that run? What made y'all capable of doing that sort of thing?
It was purely blood, sweat, and tears, man, and practice. That's actually what me personally, what I'm gonna miss the most. Just going at it in practice, man. Just making each other better. It takes to the point to where you want to quit and then you push through. That's really what it takes to get to that level, especially playing against other powerhouse teams. It's not just talent. It takes a different level of grit, and you got to mentally be ready for it.
There was a point in the middle of this season where you guys are sitting there at 11-9 and have had some ups and downs, and then you rattle off 9 straight wins starting in late January. If you extend it through the playoffs, y'all win 13 of your last 14 games this season. At that juncture, what are the things that y'all are talking about? Were there any frustrations? How did you kind of get through that and hit your stride when y'all did?
Well, there were a lot of frustrations, but honestly, we just stuck to it. We just didn't stop. We came in, we kept working. We knew eventually that the more work we put in, the more we were going to get out of it. So, as far as practice, we just did everything 10 times harder. And so eventually at some point, then like games like that are what build you up for big time games down the line. So we really just embrace those games and we're gonna move on. Just get better with on the next one.
Was there a specific game or week or tournament or anything like that where you felt it kind of click for you or the team as a whole, where you realized, okay, we've had those ups and downs, but we really do have as much a chance as anybody to have this season end in a special way?
Well, actually we had that moment at the beginning of the season. I feel like we got relaxed. We went on a 4-0 winning streak at the beginning of the season against other like powerhouse teams. And right then I was like, we got a chance. And I feel like we got a little too relaxed. And that's when we started, falling off a little bit. But like I said, with those losses, we realized we're a good team and we can do it, but you can also lose it all. So we just continued to work and we got back in our groove. And I'd say around about district, that was when we were like, okay, this is us. And we were like, yeah, we got what it takes, basically.
As y'all go through the postseason run, you're winning a couple games there, get to the state tournament, and the first team waiting for y'all in Lake Charles is a Wasserman team that y'all are very familiar with, that y'all ran into last postseason, that had beaten y'all earlier on in this season. What worked well in that semifinal game? Did y'all change anything from previous matchups, or what changed for y'all that allowed y'all to be the one that came out on top this time around in that matchup that again is a familiar one for y'all the last couple years?
What changed for us was the entire team was involved. In games like that, I feel like in games like those, you can't really have just one person doing it all. The entire team has to be involved because if one person is doing it all, that means he's having to force shots up and stuff like that. That's where the trust in teammates come in. I have full trust in my teammates. They got together and they decided we not just gonna fall off. You know what I'm saying? So we all just came together as a team and just did what we had to do, especially against Wasman because Wasman was very locked in on me. And they didn't realize that we got other guys too. You know what I'm saying? You can't just focus on one person. So yeah, that.
You guys come back 3 days later and beat Wasman's Monroe rival Carroll to win the state championship. As that game is winding down and you guys end up winning 42-33, just walk me through the emotions of a senior winning his last high school game and everything that you guys had been through, some of those ups and downs throughout the season, just what the emotions are like as you know that dream becomes reality.
Man, it's well, I'm gonna tell you, it was pure shock at first. Not shock because I didn't think we were gonna do it, but it was just like it was just like we here, like we finally made it. And when that buzzer went off, because I'm gonna tell you, I ended up getting like a steal at the end of the game that kind of sealed it off, and I was getting excited before the game was even over. So when that buzzer finally went off, just tears coming out of my eyes, and it was joy. And I remember I took the deepest breath. I was like, finally, it's done. You know, it's like we got it done. Because all those early mornings coming up here like 4 o'clock in the morning, then going to practice, then working after practice, doing that every single day, man. It all like in moments like that, it all comes back. The memories come back to when you were doing it. It's wholesome. Like it make me want to cry right now, to be honest. But you know what I'm saying? It's just like you feel it in moments like those, man. Just and then with Coach Collins, a lot of the guys that I play with, I played with them since my freshman year. Coach Collins has been my coach since freshman year. So being able to come up with guys like that, man, that just adds more to it.
I don't want to make you too emotional on a Thursday morning, but I do want to ask you some more about some of those relationships. You mentioned Coach Collins, a guy that had been with y'all, but took over as head coach prior to last season. Kind of later on in the summer, what was that transition like for him to step into that lead role? Did you feel any kind of learning process for him into a bigger role, or that y'all had to adjust anything, or with him having been there with y'all, was all that pretty much smooth from jump?
It was smooth with I feel like as far as a couple of the seniors, because like I said, he's been here since our freshman year. We had a couple of the younger guys, we had to kind of hitch them on a bit, but they were just like us. They were determined. They wanted to work, so it worked out perfectly. Like it went smooth. Like there weren't any frustrations or anything like that. Yeah, just Coach Collins is being Coach Collins, just working us as hard as he can.
And then, I mean, the big or one of the other big relationships for you, obviously, your brother is a guy that you watched be a standout in that gym 5 years ago or so, and everything he went through with the car accident 4 years ago. For him to be there and be a part, back a part of the program and be there for everything this season and be there with you at the end. I mean, how special was that to share this run with him, wrap up your high school career with a state championship that he had a chance to be a part of as well?
It was beyond special. Being able to do that with someone who's been there for me and with me since day one, it was better than anything I can imagine. Because I'm gonna tell you this, I remember when they lost their senior year, my freshman year, I said I'm gonna do everything I can to get a ring for him. So I got that. I ended up getting that one my freshman year, and now I was like, yo, now I got to get me one. And now it turns out that I've gotten me, and I got him one for real. So doing that, and then like just right after the game, being there with him on the court, it was just I couldn't ask for anything more.
This was Bossier's fifth state championship. Y'all have obviously been a program that folks know about or should know about for years now. Been a part of 12 total state championship games. If you go to the way back, a couple generations back, sort of thing. Y'all are the first group that those of y'all that were a part of that team as freshmen has two though to your name. What does that mean for y'all to close it out and with the fifth state championship for the program, y'all become the first class that has had a chance to bring two back.
I feel like it's iconic for me because especially this year, because when we won our freshman year, we had lost some guys, but we were still expected to lose just because we had lost some guys. But I feel like this year was more personal because everyone thought that we were going to fall off. And when it comes to having two, it's just like I can, like, regardless of what, like some of the seniors that didn't play, they go down. Like a couple of the seniors that played freshman year, they go down in history. No one else has two rings. So it's just like I can say that I'm a part of, like, I'm forever gonna be the first class, like the people in my class, the first class to get two rings.
You obviously, I mean, you get a chance to hear from Kalis as a guy who was in y'all's shoes years back, but with some of that tradition of success there, how much do y'all hear from some of the guys that have other players who have graduated, been there not only 5 years before y'all, maybe 10 years before y'all, or even further back? How much do y'all hear from them and just feel that support and love and tradition and everything from from the extended Bossier Bearkats basketball family?
Oh, all the time. I tell people this all the time. It's like Bossier, yeah, we're teammates and stuff like that, and it's a program, but we're more like of a family than anything. Guys are always coming back, providing for us, giving us stories, all that stuff like that. It's like I said, it's just like a family. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like even though we don't really know them, it's like we're still connected in a kind of way where they come back and we can relate to everything that they're talking about. So it hits different. It's not just anybody talking to you, it's someone who's went through it. And so that just makes you want to work even harder.
What do you tell these guys that you leave behind, the junior Javon and that junior class, and all the younger guys that y'all senior group will graduate and kind of hand the baton or the keys or the torch or whatever to? What do you tell them about keeping it going and holding this high standard?
I tell them all the time, yo, it's your turn. Look, I did what I could for you, and we got the job done. I was like, now, um, especially Javon, because he's gonna be the next leader next year. So I tell him, I say, hey, it's on you. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna want to quit. You're gonna want to not be the leader anymore. Everything's gonna get pinned on you, but I promise, you persevere through it. It's gonna work out in the end.
How different of a young player and a young man are you when you look where you were as a freshman and having a chance to get involved there early on to being the leader of this team, a leader of this team as a senior? When you look at your development again as a player or as a leader, a man, all those things, what are you most proud of in your growth through your high school years?
I say I'm most proud of my mindset because my freshman year, pretty much my freshman and sophomore year, it was nothing. I felt like I couldn't affect the game without scoring. I feel like I had to score to affect the game. And I know Coach Mark, one of the assistant coaches, he built me up from my freshman year. He's the one that got me in this mindset. He used to ask me, he was like, "Do you think you can affect the game without scoring?" And my answer was always, "No, I can't. I got to score." And I think in my junior year, it was like mid-season my junior year, it clicked because I was because we at that time we had Joseph Manning, Marquise Harris, Cedric Applewhite, all of those guys. So I didn't really have to score, but I was the defense guy and I was scoring. And it was like I wasn't having the most points, but my defense and just knowing what to do on the court, it all clicked. And I was like, yo, I'm affecting the game right now and I'm not really scoring. And he asked me and I told him. And that's when he really started working with me. Because I was like, yeah, I can affect the game without scoring. And that's when he really started working with me. And he changed me from where I was my junior year to where I am now, my senior year. So just the growth from my mindset, I feel like it all starts in the mind. Like the growth from my mindset, that's what changed me physically. So
What's ahead for you? I know Coach was telling me you've had a couple schools reach out. Who are some of the schools you're hearing from? What are some of the things you're trying to hash out? And I mean, we'll start there. Just kind of what's the recruiting process looking like for you now as high school winds down?
yeah, I've gotten offers from Centenary, LSUS, and East Central, and there are a couple other colleges that are interested in me that are really good colleges, and I feel like that's the only reason I haven't picked one yet because I'm still kind of like I don't want to pick one when I have more options. But I'm leaning towards somewhere, but I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it right now.
The recruiting process for y'all with the changes the last few years, transfer portal and all these things has become that much more complicated with how much attention gets paid to older guys and trying to work that transfer portal. For coaches that are looking at you as a young guy straight out of high school, what do you want them to know about you that you can bring to a program with your experience thus far, as well as what you see ahead for your potential and ceiling at the next level?
Me personally, I want them to know that I'm serious about it because I know that's probably one of Bosier's biggest problems. We have a lot of very good basketball players that come through here but are not really serious about basketball. So I want them to know that picking me, like you're getting someone who's like really trying to go to the next level and do what I have to do to be like a top player. Like I'm serious about this. I want to bring something to the table. I'm not just going just to waste your time. I'm really trying to do this.
Anything else you want folks to know about you, whether it be coaches, fans, whoever, or just kind of final shout outs to folks from this season or your high school career, or anything you want to say before we wind it down?
I mean, just hey, it's me, man. Just I thank everybody who helped me. You know what I'm saying? Thanks. Shout out to my family, all my coaches. It's all love.
There you go. He's Tahj Roots, standout senior on that Bossier Bearkats state championship team that, as I mentioned before, won 13 of their final 14 games this season to come out on top of that Division II non-select bracket, the fifth state championship for the Bearkats program. And Tahj and the seniors become the first group to win two during their high school careers. And for Louisiana versus all y'all, Jarrett Roser.